What's up, everyone? And we're back for the third week of the Dog Check post game show. Once again, I'm Matt, and joining me is the amazing Sean Eiford.
Hey guys, how's it going? This was a good week. It wasn't flashy,
No, not by any means.
but it was a blowout. I mean, how often do you get to say you
a
blew
two
someone
touch a
out and
two
it wasn't
touchdown
flashy?
win. Yeah,
Yeah, 14 points. Yeah, in the NFL, that's a blowout.
yeah, sure.
It is, and honestly, it never even looked that close.
No, there's like maybe one moment where it did towards the when they
Towards the,
got to 17. That was
yeah,
other than that. After that, it was Browns all the way. I'm but overall really happy with the game we had.
Browns have their first winning record in 6 years. My boys and girls, 6 years. 6 years since we've been above 500.
6 years. Yeah, you know the last time
That's a crazy stat.
Johnny Manziel's rookie year.
uh,
Yes, sir.
sorry.
So yeah, let's tell you how excited you should be, Browns fans. And realistically, you can carry this momentum going forward. You got a
Yeah.
big game next week against a team whose secondary is beat the fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I mean, the this week was interesting because they pretty much did everything on the ground that was impactful. I mean, it was all Chubb and all Hunt for the I mean, the majority of the game.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like to OBJ with some key touches.
Yes.
Um
Key catches. Unlike in Baltimore where he was dropping those key catches.
right. He had I don't know if he had lathered up the glue on the old gloves, sprayed some stickum on or but he was holding on to things this week. Better than I really ever have, seen him do, honestly, with regards to like actually holding on to the ball because, he's always been one of those, he's going to make the crazy, most ridiculous play ever and then drop the routine pass guy.
Yep.
This week, he was Mr. Reliable.
I think weird. The past 2 weeks, honestly, because even last week, he made those small key catches, but he did have the one crazy catch. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But he's been catching it seems like we got those first game jitters out, and now we're really starting to see what this team can be. The question will come next week when we have our first real test since Baltimore, because a lot of people will go on and say, oh, this was two of the worst teams, the two worst teams in football last year in Cincinnati and Washington.
Well, these are the games you have to win.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to complain about it. These are the games you have to win. And I don't expect them to blow anybody out really right now because I'm going to use a word that nobody wants to hear. The Browns are a rebuilding organization.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying they have to rebuild from a personnel standpoint, but they still have
the mentality.
Well, I mean, they're starting fresh, regardless of like the personnel. They're still starting fresh. They're still starting over. Like they ripped out the GM, they ripped out all the coaching staff, and they started over with, and handed Coach Stefanski a team that he had no hand in building. And obviously, like this offseason, he was around for the draft, and they, did that, but.
You got to tweak it, but didn't get to build it.
Yeah. This is still very much the team that was built before he got there. So to me, it's still kind of a rebuilding team. So to see them get these wins early, the wins that you have to have, yeah, I'll take it.
No, I agree 110%. Let's start off with our positives, because as much as we said this, yay, we won. There's still a lot to talk about on both sides of the ball. My two big positives, or three big positives, are two offensively, one defensively. Your two offensively is Baker finally didn't throw a pick. It took 9 games, because he had an 8-game streak, but he didn't throw a pick and he had 2 TDs. So woohoo. Secondly, you have that running tandem just looks like it can't be stopped, man. I'm loving that. And finally, anybody who ever doubts Myles Garrett just needs to shut the fuck up now.
Yeah, my bad. After that first game, I wasn't so much doubting him.
I wasn't talking about you.
No, but I will own that I voiced some concerns after that Ravens game. I'll own that. I did. I voiced some serious concerns because it seemed like he was either right in the quarterback's face or we didn't hear from him that first game. And I'll stand by that statement. That definitely happened.
Yeah.
Okay. But he has come roaring back and has been very involved.
2 straight strip sacks in 2 games.
Yeah, that's insane. And this week he recovered it. That's insane.
And that grown man, I'm gonna just drag you by your motherfucking shirt sack against Haskins. I was dying.
That was absolute savagery.
I like my girlfriend missed it initially, and then when the reaper like hit me, Jen, watch this. She's like, "What? Oh my god! How didn't that rip?"
So, my positives are obviously Chubb continuing to dominate.
Oh yeah,
being Chubb, and Hunt getting involved in the passing game more so. He had a reception for a touchdown. And
he had one last week too,
and
he's just been consistent.
Yeah, I wasn't saying he wasn't involved last week. I'm saying he was involved more than once. In a big spot receiving. I mean, he had 2 receptions, 18 yards, and a touchdown. But it looked like it was more than that because of the spots they came in. One of them was a touchdown, and one of them was a first down, if memory serves.
Yeah.
And so those were both key receptions. Those were both really important. And also the secondary picking some people off. I mean, don't get me wrong, okay? Let me temper that, okay? The secondary was still pretty rough, okay?
Yeah.
They picked off Haskins, who is not a good quarterback at this point in his career.
No.
He made some really bad decisions, and we were able to be opportunistic and take advantage of those bad decisions. That being said, it's good to see him hang on to it.
Yeah. I mean, there was that one. It should have been 4. There was that one early on with Denzel Ward who had it.
And it got
knocked his clock.
Cracked him. I was like, wow, I've never seen a wide receiver hit anybody like that before.
Right.
They're usually really careful with their bodies. That dude had no regard for his own safety.
I was in shock. I was like, damn.
Yeah,
because I'm always rooting for Denzel.
But yeah,
I wanted that man to have it.
Carl Joseph had a pick. B.J. Goodson had a pick. And Malcolm Smith had a pick. Yeah. I believe now B.J. Goodson is one of the linebackers that we've been complaining about so much.
Yes.
So he's kind of, redeeming himself a little bit there, right? And but the other two, actually Malcolm Smith technically is a linebacker as well, but he kind of played off more. So
he's been playing off a lot of this year so far. It seems like so.
Yeah. Oh, I had to take a peek at the roster because he plays so far off the line for most of the time that I thought he was potentially a safety. I thought maybe he was playing strong safety or something.
Yeah,
he's always so far, back off the line. But yeah, so 2 of the picks were by linebackers, which is Interesting. I can hear your background, by the way.
Can hear my background.
Yeah.
I wonder if my headphones are too loud. I don't know what that was about because there's nothing going on in the background.
I heard some talking. It sounded like you were talking to yourself, so it was wild.
Do you hear it now?
No.
All right. Yeah, that was.
You have a little bit of ear cup leak, is what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was worse though before you fixed whatever you just did. But anyways, Sheldon Richardson again was
Beast.
a force up the middle. And our defensive line overall looked pretty decent. I will say though that our rushing defense looked worse this week than it was.
Yeah. It looked, but it wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad. I mean, we gave up what?
I got 15, the stats in front of me right now.
22.
We gave up
37 plus
103.
Yeah. I was doing the math.
Yeah, I just have ESPN pulled up on my phone while we do this.
Gotcha.
It has it broken down for us.
Gotcha. So that's more than last week. And unfortunately, like it was a situation where we were either bottling them up, or they were breaking big runs. And I think they broke what 2 or 3 that were like that really hurt. Was it 2 or was it 3 that were like 10 yards?
They had that one. Gandy Golden had that 22-yard run.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gibson had a few 10-yard runs in there.
Yeah. So
Gibson's long was a 13.
Yeah. It seemed like we were kind of getting gashed when we were getting hit. But overall, I can't really complain. Actually, yeah, we sort of can, because those yards come on, those 100 yards come on like 15 carries or like 20 carries. That's actually not a very good average.
Right. 21 carries. There was a 10.7 yard average.
Yeah, that's really bad actually. I had to double back and look at the number of carries.
Excuse me. Never mind. I was looking at receiving. 22 carries for a 4.7 yard average.
Yeah, that's still a first down.
Yeah.
That means you can still run 3 times for first downs, because that would get you So that's still an unacceptable number. You want to keep them under 3, ideally, because if they're able to if they're able to average 3.5, then they're able to average a first down on 3 runs, and that's a huge problem. That means you're losing in the trenches. So. I know that's a very old school way of thinking, but honestly, the Browns are playing a very old school style of football. So you kind of have to bend your thought processes. If you're going to run like that, you have to stop the run too, and we are not doing that.
Yeah,
and that's why it looked kind of sloppy in some points, because we were letting people get loose for 22 yards.
Yeah. Although my issue is, again, you give up over 200 yards passing.
Yeah,
it's.
In today's NFL, though, that's sort of a normal number. You don't want to give up 3. 3 to me is the magic number. Or once you meet 3, you usually lose.
Baker with 156.
Yeah,
passing.
I was going to talk about that.
Here's my thing. I can't really get upset about it, because a lot of the time we were already on the other side of the field.
You want me to tell you something that want me to give you a comparison that's going to make you mad?
What?
Are you ready for this?
Uh-huh.
You know who he looked like?
Kirk Cousins?
No.
Who?
He looked like Colt McCoy.
I don't think that doesn't necessarily make me mad, honestly.
That makes me mad.
Yeah, no.
He looked like Colt McCoy to me.
I was telling someone earlier, I'm like, oh, it's a prospective person. We're going a prospective podcast that this network's going to be working with in the future. And we were talking earlier, the host of that show happens to be a Ravens fan. So we were talking, he's like, honestly, dude, as much as it's going to surprise you to hear this, I'm rooting for Baker to be good, because I want this to be a fun and good rivalry. I'm like, I get it, But to me right now, he just looks like Kirk Cousins. So
Yeah, I think that if he continues on his current trajectory, he won't get replaced. But I don't know that if you can win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield throwing 156 yards on what was it, 17 to 20?
it
Looking at the
was
16 to 23.
Yep,
Sorry.
16 to 23.
Yeah, 156 yards, 16 to 23, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's a game manager stat line. That is not a superstar quarterback. You don't take game managers first overall. You cannot spend that sort of draft capital on game managers. And honestly, game managers don't win Super Bowls.
No, and I agree there.
They used to. They don't anymore.
The last game manager that won a Super Bowl, arguably, was Peyton Manning. And that's just because the defense was carrying his ass.
Well, it was that, and it was the brilliance of Peyton Manning. Yeah. You know, Peyton Manning at the line is still a different cat than anybody else at the line. Like, like the way that he sees defenses and coverages and the way he reads a defense, and will audible out into the right play. He was still like when he retired, he was still in a totally different stratosphere than like every other quarterback in the league at doing that, at making sure that that you were running the right play against the defense that you were looking at, and that's what made him successful. That's ultimate game manager, though. Like, you still with me there, Matt?
Yeah, I'm still with you, and you're right. That is ultimate game manager. It's frustrating because my thing is, if he can play game manager, that's fine. And I think I told you this the other day.
You don't have to replace game manager, but
if you want to win, you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
And I want a QB, not just a game manager. And Baker really needs to develop the quarterbacking side. If he's a game manager, that's fine. That could probably get us into the playoffs this year and save his ass. But that means next year he's got to make that jump, or else he's gone for me.
I think that if you think he's a game manager, then you look to replace him.
No,
I don't think that you focus on, oh, well, if he gets us to the playoffs, but he looks like a game manager, we keep him around another year. I think that if Baker looks like a game manager still at the end of this year, we got to be QB shopping.
No, and that's why
because you won't make the next step. Yeah,
I'll trade up. Give me Justin Fields
if he's available. I mean, it doesn't look like the Browns are going to be bad enough to be in the Trevor Lawrence discussion.
Yeah, it's
not unless he has a bad last season, which would be nice because I think that even if he plays poorly, he's the best prospect. Even if he plays poorly this season, he's still going to be the best prospect. He's going to have the best NFL toolbox.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've been very much on the Trevor Lawrence train.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't blame you if that's who you're rocking with. But that what you just said is why I'm for Justin Fields, because I feel like in today's NFL, he gives you that dual threat quarterback. Like his body type just scream. Him and Trevor Lawrence, their body type just scream out to me. And my thing is, I don't see there being many QB needy teams. If the Jaguars, like here's what's pissing me off.
The Jaguars like Gardner Minshew, man.
I know. That's what I was about to say.
They like that cat. Like they're not
he's
not looking to replace him.
He's playing like we expect Baker Mayfield to play at this point. Isn't that sad?
Yeah, I mean it is, and we're expecting that clutch dude out of Baker Mayfield, and that's been Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, it's frustrating, man. It's just it's very frustrating.
What are they calling it? Minsanity?
Or something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, it is very, very, reminiscent of Lynn, because like you weren't expecting Lynn to be referring back to basketball for all of our viewers that don't know what I'm talking about. Lynn Sanity, Gardner Minshew was like He was like a 3rd-round guy, right?
Yeah.
People expect him to be a developmental backup for his whole career, and he's just balling. It's ridiculous.
It would kill me to just have this man be. And here's the thing.
Well, we expected him to slow down this year, right? I mean, Gardner Minshew. We thought, well, teams are going to figure him out, and he's going to fall off a cliff. And nope, he's been fine. He hasn't looked like a superstar really. He's looked.
No, there was that second game he did. His second.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, the dude has looked like a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah,
he's somebody you can win with, certainly. Don't get me wrong. But he hasn't looked like, like an MVP quality QB. Like, he hasn't looked like that kind of cat. He hasn't.
I'll agree there. It's funny because you have those.
He hasn't looked like a team carrier. Okay, like
there are those people who have called him the next Brady.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm not gonna speak up and say no because anything's possible. He obviously has
Brady,
just enough.
Brady, and the fact that he was someone counted out, and he's probably going to have a nice long career as a starter.
Yeah,
and maybe win one or two.
Oh yeah, he's definitely going to have a nice long career. I don't know if he wins one in this age of Patrick Mahomes's. I mean, which, by the way, for all you viewers, I was someone who absolutely beat the drum for Patrick Mahomes when the Browns had an opportunity to select him. Yep. I was going bananas. And Matt can tell you because he was sitting in the room with me on draft night that year. Like we
not
watched
that year.
Not that year.
No,
that was the year we had the draft party at your.
No, that was the year before we had the draft party.
Okay, but you can attest. I was beating the drum
in our conversations. Yeah, the Mahomes year is the Myles Garrett year.
Yeah,
and I had a screening that night.
Right, I remember now. But I mean, honestly, Myles Garrett is fantastic. Okay, I'm so happy with Myles Garrett.
I'm not mad at who we ended up with. Let's put it.
I'm not either. But if you tell me I can have Myles Garrett or Patrick Mahomes, it's Patrick Mahomes. Okay, you can find other defensive ends that are close. There are not really any close quarterbacks to a Patrick Mahomes, other than basically one, or maybe two, if you consider Deshaun Watson and.
I was about Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen.
Yeah. Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen. So I was anti-Josh Allen the year that, and I still have my reservations about Josh Allen. I'm still not convinced that he's going to be able to keep it up. I'm impressed. But I'm not confident he can keep it up.
See, me, I am. I keep it up, honestly.
I hope he does because I have always liked Buffalo.
Did you watch the end? They played the end of the Rams and Bills game. Towards the end. Did you watch?
Yes, I did.
That ending showed me all I needed to see personally. I was just like, all right, well, I was wrong. Yeesh. That's literally how I felt.
2 years in, it definitely looks like we both got it wrong. For sure. 3 years in. It looks like we got it wrong. It does. It looks like we got it wrong.
His rookie year did not seem like it.
No, it looked like we were 100% right.
Last year, I remember you're like, right now we're still right, but we'll see.
Well, actually, it looked like we both got it wrong year one because you wanted I actually wanted Sam Darnold. Baker was my second guy.
I actually had towards the end. See, at the beginning of it, I wanted Darnold. Towards the end of it,
I remember that you changed.
Towards the end of it, I was because I looked at
You were a Goff guy.
No, Goff wasn't that year. I was a Jackson
No.
And Baker guy.
Baker?
I had
Were you really?
towards the end of it.
Jackson?
Lamar Jackson and Baker towards the end of it.
I thought I remember both of us talking about him being a running back. Both
At
of us.
At the beginning of it, yes, but remember, I broke it down like this. My whole thinking is you want the QB who's going to be starting ahead of your future quarterback to have a similar game, and at that point, we had just traded for Tyrod.
Yeah.
So
so that's what it was. Okay.
So
because I remember neither of us thinking that he had the highest ceiling.
No, I didn't think he had the highest ceiling. But I'm like, if you look at the quarterbacks available, granted, Allen just developed into a runner because of how naturally freakish he is,
and how average that offensive line is.
Yeah, but based on that point,
I had to get my little dig in.
No, you're fine. But based on that point in time, the two quarterbacks who I felt ran the best in that draft were Lamar and Baker.
Yeah.
So that's why Baker became 1 and Lamar became 2. And then
although it's definitely arguable, though, that Baker was more shifty, and I didn't think that would translate as well. And I was right.
Yeah.
100%. Like, he's not outrunning linebackers in the NFL. We found that out definitively.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he gets a good angle on them, he can get past them. But he can't run by linebackers like he did in college. That's not an option for him, and we found that out. And I knew that, sort of. There were a lot of people who were like, "Oh, well, Baker is really mobile and he can run around and scramble." And I was just like, if you want him to play like that, he'll do it for you. But he's gonna end up looking like Johnny fucking failure.
Yeah.
And I was right. When he does more than a bootleg, when he really tries to run around and extend plays for an extra 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds, like when he tries to really move around for like an extended period of time behind the line, and he leaves the pocket for an extended period of time, it never ends well. Almost never does it end well. And that's because he's really good at designed rollouts, bootlegs.
And we've seen that so far this year.
Right. But when you make him basically run for his life and improvise, that ain't it.
Yeah, although there one of those touchdowns today, it was that situation. I'll give him that.
No, I mean he can occasionally he can pull one out of his ass every once in a while.
Yeah.
But that's just not his game.
Just need him to start doing it consistently.
Right. He needs to read and react. That's the game he needs to play. He needs to go first option, second option, third option.
Okay, time to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, throw it away. And that's the game that he needs to play. And asking him to run around and, outrun defensive ends. No. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And he's not going to run over him like a Cam or a Big Ben either. Like, he's not just going to be like, get off me. Like that.
Josh Allen will do that, though. So.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's not going to be his game either, because he's a small cat.
Exactly.
Like he's too little to play that way.
I saw some stats earlier. Baker's if you give Baker a clean pocket so far this is just this season.
Right.
His completion percentage is like mid-50s. And he's got a clean pocket, but the issue is, and we got to be honest, he's a short quarterback, can't really see over the line.
Right.
When he's able to get outside the pocket, play action, whatever you want to call it, he's like high 60s.
Right.
So it's just one of those things, man. And granted, this offense is designed around that, but I don't want to have to rely on. Everyone's going to know that's what you're going to have to go to if your quarterback sucks at it.
Well, and that's what makes it so important for Chubb and Kareem Hunt to play so well, because as long as those rollouts are on play action fakes, they have to respect the run, because you've been gouging them all night. Like, they can't guess, because if they guess wrong, you're gonna peel off 30 yards from Kareem Hunt or Nick Chubb, like they're gonna rip you if you're wrong. So you have to kind of stay home and let him roll out in that situation because you have to. Like you can't assume it's not a run because the Browns running backs are so dynamic. They can run on 3rd and 10.
Yeah, you're right.
It can just as easily be a run as a pass. And I think that Kevin Stefanski has to realize that because anytime the down and distance was not advantageous for a run, he called away from it. Now, don't get me wrong, schematically that's technically correct, but he has special running backs. And also, it plants the seed for the next drive, right? Because if on 3rd and 10, your tendency is to never run on 3rd and 10, then the opposition doesn't have to respect it. You know what I mean? If there is even a 10% chance it's a run, then the play action still works on 3rd and 10. That being said, if you're never going to run on 3rd and 10, don't play action out of it because you're just wasting time. You're just making the play develop more slowly. Just run it out of shotgun. Don't even bother. If you're never going to actually do the run, then the threat becomes, completely null and void.
No, you're not wrong, and
you got to show me.
Yeah, I'm just, and it's sad because you see, I feel like so dejected. I want this guy to be successful, but I just feel so dejected based off what, like we were talking earlier, and I word almost word for word. Here's what I'll pull it up.
You know what's frustrating, man?
What
is that his stat line, other than yards, looks good.
Yeah.
If you tell me quarterback threw 16, he completed 16 of 23 for 2 touchdowns, and you just leave out the yardage, I go, that guy, and no picks. I go, that guy had a great game.
Exactly.
Then you say, for 156, and I go, huh?
but then, like I said, the defense played a factor in that because if they didn't have those picks or forced fumbles, we're not.
True.
We spent a lot of time at the other already within goal range in their territory, whatever you want to call it. We spent a lot of time there from the jump.
That's true, but we also had several opportunities to take the lid off the defense and stretch the field with OBJ.
And I'm not taking that away.
And we never actually did it. We ran one play like that. And it was almost picked. And then Kevin Stefanski never went back to it ever again.
That was the message I was going to bring up because I literally said to you, I'm like, Chubb and Hunt are our entire offense. And you're like, that's not a bad formula, to be honest. I said, no, it's not. And you said, but it's kind of a waste when you factor how explosive we should be. And I said, I agreed. All that could be fixed with the real QB and not a game manager. And you said to me, that's that's a play calling question. I haven't seen Baker asked to make those throws yet today. I said, I can see that, but I don't know. I look at some of the throws he makes and I hold my breath. He was asked once and it was nearly picked off.
Yeah, but one play does not a sample size make.
Here's my thing. Anytime he's attempted to make one of those plays this year, outside of the touchdown last week, it's been nearly picked off.
Or actually picked off. Yeah.
So it seems like as soon as Stefanski sees a sign that ball has a chance to get, he just stops and he switches up the passing game plan.
Well, right, and that's scary to me because if you're never willing to take that shot, then you don't have a quarterback.
And that's my point.
Yeah, if you're never willing to take that shot, then you don't have a quarterback.
Yeah. All right.
We're not saying it to play gamble ball.
Yeah, we got to stop harping on Baker. Let's talk about some of these negatives we had going in because we went on this tangent as it seems to do that we do every week when it comes to Baker and his play.
Yeah. So negatives. Our linebackers are ass in coverage for the most part. They got a couple opportunistic picks this week, but still, they were just losing track of people. And also schematically, there was a lot of times where the personnel group dictated that a linebacker ended up having to take like a slot receiver, and that's a problem. Because when you have a linebacker on a slot receiver, he's going to just cook him every time, unless your linebackers are special in coverage, and ours are not. Ours are nothing special with regards to speed. At least the ones we have on the field. So typically, your slot guys are your little 5'8", 4.3 40 guys with crazy quick twitch, and those kinds of dudes run away from linebackers. Any average linebacker can't run with those dudes. So I don't know if schematically we were screwing that up as far as how we were planning out our defense, or if that's the job that the defensive scheme requires the linebackers to do in our defense. But either way, it's wrong. Like, I don't know if these dudes are getting caught out of position or if the play calling is bad. I don't know which it is. But slot receivers shouldn't be on linebackers.
No, I agree with you there.
Linebackers should be covering tight ends, but our linebackers can't cover tight ends either. So I'm not really sure. I mean, linebackers can't cover anyone.
I'll say this: Malcolm Smith looked fine today. He
did.
He's the only linebacker I could give any props to. I'm not going to say I didn't see a lot of Mac out there. I know he came back today, but I didn't see a ton of them.
You know what? He played well enough that he wasn't noticeable. And when you're coming back from an injury, I'll take it.
And that's my thing. It's like I didn't notice him. I can't say anything bad about him. So, but
yeah, he didn't jump out, which could also be bad. Let me look at the defensive stats from him. See if I can find him at all. Is he on Porter Gustin? Had a nice showing again.
Yeah, get Porter. He's winning me over quickly.
Kevin Johnson didn't play bad.
You said who?
Kevin Johnson didn't play bad.
Oh no. But yeah, look, Mac didn't record any defensive stat.
Yeah, he was empty.
So with that in mind, like I can't say boo about him. I can't praise him. It's just he played well enough to where I didn't notice him. And I guess
Taki wasn't terrible today. He didn't cover anybody.
7 total tackles, 3 solo. Yeah, I guess I do want to say Carl Joseph was great. He's probably the best part of our secondary today.
Yeah. I can give you that.
Besides the fumble intercepting it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And then Tavier Thomas, who just came to save the day right there. Tavier's, I can see why they kept him. Dude's been having a hell of a year. Granted, we're 3 games in, but he's shown promise and he fits. He's making plays.
He's young too. He's only 24, so he has room on it. He has room left in the ceiling.
He's a name I didn't expect to see or hear myself talking about right now. So I'm not going to say boo about him. He's made some really big plays. So hey, but no.
Honestly, I think we should stop cracking on the defense so hard entirely because they generated 5 turnovers today. Like, why are we hammering them so bad?
Because they played like
they looked so sloppy.
Exactly.
They looked bad. Like they were effective, but they looked bad.
It seemed like they needed the first quarter of each half to get back up to speed and look okay. Yep. Look like a decent defense.
Yeah.
But it didn't take you an entire quarter in both halves to get back to looking like a real NFL defense.
You know, it's really weird too.
What?
There was no quarter today in which both teams scored.
Oh yeah, Browns didn't score in the first.
Yeah.
And then
Washington didn't score in the second.
Browns didn't score in the third, and Jesus.
Washington didn't score in the fourth. There was no quarter today that both teams scored, which is weird, right? And both of ours were for 17 points. So they had explosions in the second and the fourth, which, by the way,
not mad about.
That's when you want to go off.
Right.
The end of the second quarter and the end of the fourth quarter, that's money time. It is. Like, when you're going into half, you want the momentum. And obviously in the fourth quarter to close out the game, that's the important time to really, like, you know, drive home your victory. But at the same time, it's just really weird. They never seem to carry that momentum. It came out flat both times.
Man. It really is hard.
That makes me wonder too if there's like something going on where they're just kind of coming out of the locker room flat too.
I hope
you made a comment that they seem to come out like during the game that they seem like they came out sleepy, almost like half like asleep. And when we were like texting during the game, you kind of said that that it looked like they kind of were sleepy in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And you know, they sort of looked like that in the first quarter too. Like the defense pretty much held, right? They gave up one touchdown, but they just kind of looked they look kind of like just kind of sleepy. You're right, and it's weird coming out of the locker room. You should be playing like your hair's on fire,
especially when you just had such a great second quarter.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, is Stefanski just like killing puppies in the locker room, or like what's going on? That's obviously a joke, guys. I don't think Kevin Stefanski is killing puppies in the locker room. I just need to say it. But it's just like, it's almost like dudes are coming out like just sad almost.
Yeah.
And then they like work themselves back up into a lather by the time one quarter is out. That's what it seems like. And it's weird. It is really weird.
It's frustrating. That's what it is.
It is. But I mean, you get the W today. I think did I give my negatives of the day?
No, you didn't.
Okay. So negatives today, for me, are actually, believe it or not, there's still Baker, for one. Although his stats don't show him looking that the stats don't look that bad. The total yards is sort of telling. He looked like check down commander, and that's what drew the comparison to who did I say earlier? He's playing for Dallas right now, I believe.
Dak?
Not Dak.
Oh, Colt McCoy.
Colt McCoy, yeah. That's why I was kind of looking at him as kind of the check down, the king of check down, the check down king. So there's that, and then obviously our linebackers are not good in coverage as a whole. Play calling was weird on the defensive side of the ball. And we were scheming. I mean, we got some turnovers, but overall the scheme looked strange. There was a lot of like really soft spots in our zone coverage that I didn't like. I was seeing wide open, wide receivers running through zone coverage where the cornerback that was supposed to be covering him would release because he left his zone, and the other corner that's supposed to pick him up didn't. Because it should work like for our people who aren't like, super like football junkies like me and Matt, in a zone defense, you have two guys here. Okay, and these are their zones. If there was a wide receiver that runs into this guy's zone, he should follow them until they meet the other cornerback zone, and the other cornerback should come and meet him and pick him up and go with him into the next zone. So it's weird that we don't seem to be doing that. Our guys kind of seem to just be out on an island and not really like it looks like they're just kind of staring and getting caught watching the ball, as opposed to watching the quarterback to see where he's going to go with the ball, or even, not quite as good as watching for the ball, but they also don't even seem to be like really watching the men that run through their zone either. They kind of seem to be getting caught ball watching. Yeah, that's a big negative to me.
I will say this: I finally saw Ronnie Harrison play. Saw him on a few plays. I'm I'm getting so tired of Andrew Sandejo, though. I'm like, Ronnie, please catch up, please, so I don't have to see this bum play anymore.
You're still gonna see him in nickel and stuff. Like he's gonna be out there, man.
I don't know. Kevin Johnson's supposed to be playing the nickel once we get Greedy back. So
yeah, that's true too. But when are we gonna see Greedy? Next week?
Next week. He could have played today. Apparently, they just kept him out as a precaution. They don't want to rush him.
Yeah, and it also made sense too. Like we were playing a not good team. Like we were playing a team that like we shouldn't struggle with.
Right.
So like
a team we play a team we need Greedy against next week in Dallas.
Yeah.
Dak's been having that air attack. So you need Greedy against Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm not a Dak guy, but I do recognize that offense is dangerous through the air. I mean,
I mean, here's my thing. I'm not totally upset with the 104 yards, especially we play Zeke next week. It took them how many? I want to say eight players rushing to get that 104 yards.
Yeah.
So I'm not totally mad about that.
Yeah, it was the timing though of the 108 yards that bothered me.
They had 7 rushers for 103 yards. You play Zeke next week. If you're able to keep him at Antonio Gibson numbers, which granted Antonio Gibson only rushed 9 times, if you're keeping Zeke at like 60 to 80 yards, I'm happy.
Well, I mean, Zeke's going to get 30 touches most likely. So if you keep him to 80 yards.
What's he averaging for the season? That's what I'm curious about.
I know last season he averaged like 22 rushes, 23 rushes, if memory serves. But like then he averaged like another 5 or 6 catches.
As of right now in the game against Seattle, 9 touches for 14 yards.
Well.
Does that change your opinion at all?
Is he hurt?
No. As far as I know, no.
I mean, did he get injured during the game?
As far as I know, no. I'm going to check right now. Just quick Twitter search. But no, I'm ready, man. It's one of those things.
I mean, he hasn't broken the 100-yard mark yet this year.
No, and that's why I'm saying, like, we have one of the better run defenses as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, and he played the Falcons and was only able to average 4 yards per carry, and that's never a good run defense. I'm not following the Falcons this year very much. I know they haven't been very good, but the Falcons' run defense, like I said, is usually pretty bad. Yeah. So to only average 4 yards against them. And then the Rams, beyond one guy, are not that good on run defense either.
Yeah,
like they're very average too.
So it just looks like I'm reading tweets. It just looks like they haven't gotten them going.
Well, I mean,
they're not using them, and apparently, and this is from who I guess is a Dallas Cowboys fan. They're talking about how, and once you think about it, it's very true. She's talking about the fact that ever since they changed who calls plays, he's been a different back.
Who was calling the plays before?
So
was it Jason Garrett before?
Up until like the midway point of last year, if I remember correctly, it was Jason Garrett. Then they switched to Linehan or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
So under Linehan, it's more than it was more a one cut and go play with Dak under center. I don't know who. Oh, Moore's the new OC.
Okay.
Since Moore has been OC, they drastically changed how they use Zeke. Zeke is best when Dak is under center and running quick, developing run plays. It's not just this game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean...
And I see other Cowboys fans saying what's so hard about giving Zeke the ball 60% of the time in the first half and 65% of the time in the second half.
What's so hard about it is then you get him for maybe 6 years. Because you're gonna beat him to death.
And the Cowboys have played, let's see, How many? What's the run
I'm
to
sorry,
pass?
when you have a weapon when you have a weapon like Ezekiel Elliott, you don't just run him into the ground in games that don't matter that much. You
Right,
save those 60% of touches games. You save those games for playoffs.
right. So
I
so
mean,
here, these are the stats. This is the breakdown right now. The Cowboys have passed for 20 attempts and rushed for 10.
yikers. Yikes.
So if they're doing that next week, I'm pretty sure that's probably why the Browns decided to sit Greedy. What's up, 1BLT? I hope to see you on Real Talk later, 1BLT. We always love you there, and we always are going to ask you once we get there, what are you eating? Find out around 8. Hey. But yeah, it's very interesting. I'm looking to next week because realistically, and somebody laughed at me, but my other buddy Sean, who we're hoping to get on here soon, he and I were talking. There's a realistic chance going into week 6, you're 4-1.
Oh yeah.
Because Dallas's defense is just garbage right now. And you factor that in with the fact that Phillip Rivers is old man times Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You never know which one you're going to get on what day.
It's true.
Like he's 13 of 16 for 179 yards and a touchdown.
No picks?
No picks.
That's pretty good.
But we're about to be halfway through the third.
Oh. Okay.
And they only have.
Are they winning?
They're winning 7. They're playing the Jets.
Oh, well, yeah, they're definitely winning.
But they only have 65 yards rushing. So, and it looks like one of the touchdowns came off of defense. Yep, Xavier Rhodes, defensive touchdown.
So they're obviously losing the time possession battle.
Yeah,
obviously, like definitely they're losing possession.
Sean, we got a question for you. What flavor is that?
So this is actually a really crap flavor. I'm not happy with it at all. I picked it up today. I don't go to these guys, but my usual shop was closed. It's these Dragon King liquid. It's a cheesecake flavor. It's not a good cheesecake flavor at all. This tastes like it was made with government cheese.
Damn, Sean, you brought the government cheese out.
I like premium juices, and these guys do not sell them. It's those Kings of Vapor guys. Like my shop was closed today. As a matter of fact, I missed kickoff because I wanted juice.
Sounds like you.
I wanted juice, like I wanted e-juice, and like my shop was closed, so I ran to Kings of Vapor as a backup. And this flavor is just as ass as every other flavor as I've gotten from them, and especially coming off of what I was smoking, which was this, which is empty. It's a Custard Monster. It's made by the same cats that make the peanut butter and jelly flavors.
Okay.
And this Custard Monster was fire. And then I was smoking Rochambeau juice. And that was a whiskey. It was
so
a whiskey.
Go in there and say it's trash.
I will. I fucking will.
You don't know Sean 1BLT. I hope you get to know him more, even though I know you're not. As far as I know, at least you're not local. So I'm happy to see you on here for a Browns post game show. So, but yeah, Sean is the type to not hold his opinions to himself. He will gladly go tell someone how rank their stuff is.
Yeah, no, this juice is garbage. Absolute ass. And I hate it. I can't think of who makes the Rochambeau that I like, but it's tobacco, whiskey, and Swiss cake rolls. That's the flavor. It's like all those blended, and
Interesting.
it ends up it's like not like smoked tobacco though, so it tastes like tobacco smells, which is actually really good, mixed with whiskey and Swiss cake rolls. Fire. But this cheesecake, this shit ain't it. This, this ain't it.
I do remember you liked that shop over here in Mayfield.
Yes, I like those cats. They're good. They're a mixology spot. This is another one. This is Dr. Vapes guys. Big Patch. This is like a raspberry flavor, raspberry ice flavor. So that's pretty good. My favorite is Dead Man's Hand. It comes in a little glass bottle with a dropper in it, like an eyedropper, and you drip it right into the vape itself, like right onto the coils. You just drip, 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 and it's delicious. It's actually aged for 6 months in whiskey barrels. Like it's a regular flavor, like a waffle cone mixed with like ice cream or whatever like that. Like it's mostly vanilla, but then they like pour it into like old whiskey barrels and age it there for 6 months, so the flavor can kind of work its way in.
Okay, Sean.
Delicious. Huh?
I said, okay, Sean, getting it in right here.
Sorry.
I'm not complaining. I'm just like, yep. I mean, granted, like we said, we even talked about going into this game. There wasn't a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it was kind of the first half was like boring.
The second half was kind of boring.
The second half had like most of the picks though. Like
no, because so the first it was
the second half had the strip sack.
The second half had the strip sack and one pick. We had the fumble recovery and 2 picks in the first half.
Yeah, the second half just felt better to me. I don't know why. I'm not sure why, but it felt better. Maybe it was because Washington actually pulled ahead for a minute.
Yeah.
In the second half, so it was like, oh shit, we got a game, and then
that didn't last at all.
And then like the Browns rattled off 17 unanswered en route to a blowout. But yeah, no, sorry about the E-Juice tangent, guys.
No, you're fine, man.
But this
wait. He said, one BLT says, I turned 18 just for the law to change and say I have to be 21 to smoke.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man. But yeah, this is the stuff right here. This is that Dead Man's Hand. It actually, like I said, comes in a glass bottle with an actual dripper here. Like an actual, like, see that, Matt?
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
It's good stuff. That one's really expensive, like per like milliliter compared to like most of the other stuff, but it's worth it. It's delicious. But anyways,
yeah. So let's next week, Dallas. I have this being an Atlanta Falcons Dallas type game that we got last week, where it was close because Dallas's defense sucks, and it's the running up on scores on each other.
I think that we're gonna take the ball out of Dak's hand a lot, via like how we're just gonna. I think we're just gonna let the Hogs loose and just run wild on them, with our running backs.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad. I would not be mad about that at all. So, I mean, if that's what happens, so be it.
Yeah, I think that's what we end up looking at. I think that we will. I think that we'll win. Can we get a quick predict?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
I have it as 35-30.
I'm pretty close. I actually think it's going to be I think it's going to be like a 37 to 27.
Interesting.
I think it's going to be 37-27. Browns win via Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt both getting 2 touchdowns apiece.
Yeah. Part of me has a feeling next week's a week we have to rely on Baker's arm.
Oh, I hope not.
Well, Dallas' secondary is what's been trashed, so.
Well, right. Yeah. Yeah, well, he'll get an opportunity to show off this week.
Yeah.
I mean, he has more weapons than anyone else in the NFL. Literally. There's no team with more offensive weapons than the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
At every single skill position, we have a player that would start on any team except for tight end.
No,
Like,
I
said start on any team. On any team, start. Means take dude's spot.
Austin Hooper would take dude's spot.
He's not going to go and take Zach Ertz's spot. He's not going to go to the Rams and take that spot. You know, there's a couple of tight ends that
I don't know. Darren Waller is up and down. As much as I love him and I have him on my fantasy teams, he's very up and down.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to go to Kansas City and take Travis Kelce's spot. He's not going to go and take George Kittle's spot. He's not going to go take Mark Andrews' spot or Zach Ertz. Those are the cats whose job he cannot take.
Let's see.
He's good, but he ain't taking those dudes' jobs.
Fair.
Great, I mean, even, but he ain't taking those dudes' jobs. Like, let's keep it in the realm of like realism here. I like to keep things very real.
Yeah, clearly.
But no, I mean, you know, Austin Hooper, you know, I think a big part of why Hoop his numbers are down is we just haven't really been getting him involved.
They started to today, and then he went out.
We did. I think he got a groin injury, didn't he?
I think so, something like that. Did he ever come back? I don't think I noticed him.
I'm gonna check right now. I don't. It doesn't look like he has an injury right now. At least there's nothing showing up. He's not the story when I search him. And when I search him, there's no story about an injury, which there would be by now because he left.
I'll do the Twitter thing.
Yeah,
because Mary Kay would have tweeted about it.
Yeah. I gotta fix my my thermostat here. It's getting hot in the house. I'm just fixing it right from my phone. We've converted our house to a smart home. We got a Nest thermostat. There's Alexas in every room but the computer room. Because the computer room
it looks like he came back.
Okay. Yeah, the computer room is where I plot my government overthrowment policy. So I keep Alexa out of this room, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it looks like he came back.
Okay, so. Good. He was a little dinged up though. Maybe we didn't go to him. Maybe we kind of used him as a decoy.
Hey, Harrison Bryant got his first TD, man.
I think Harrison Bryant is the starting TE1 of the future for sure.
Oh, well, the future, no doubt.
He just looks like a different dude, man.
I am mad. I mean, I was like, I watched his highlights after he was drafted. I'm like, okay, I guess we know he's replacing Njoku in the future.
Yep. I wish we could get something for Njoku though, even just anything. Can we get a second for him?
No, they're talking fourth at max.
Nobody's even going to give us a third. Come on, look at the ceiling. Look at his ceiling. He's still young. Look at the ceiling. Come on.
Yeah.
Can I get a third?
Yeah, you're not getting a third.
Come on, give me a third.
I mean,
come on, give me a third. You get linebackers in the third, okay? Give me a third. Let me have a third.
Baltimore, give me my boy from OSU. Who's tearing shit up just like Sean and I said he would.
Please have a third. or him. Either one works for me.
Because we don't we're just fans. We don't know what we're talking about. We don't sit here and call that Derek Carr was going to be the best quarterback from that entire draft that year, which so far he has been.
Yeah, he hasn't been good.
Oh, he was pretty decent last week. I don't know how he did today. Last week he looked like a pretty good. I know part of his thing has always been the injury. Coming back from that injury, he's always looked different.
Yeah. I think he's always going to look different too, though. Like some injuries, you just don't come back from the same.
Especially mentally.
Yeah. I mean, you remember like Tim Couch, he was completely gun shy after his like really bad injury that he went through.
Damn. Patriots stomped the Raiders 36-20.
You would think that Cam Newton would have gotten me more points in fantasy, but he didn't.
It was Sony Michel and Rex Burkhead.
Yeah, I know. I know that he didn't do anything to help me.
Here, look. Carr.
Cam Newton gave me
24-32, 261.
Cam Newton gave me 11 points today.
Yeah. But Carr was 24-32 for 261 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm going to lose again this week. I'm going to lose for a third week in a row.
Bruh, I'm about to destroy this week.
And it's because I still have AJ Brown out. Yep. I thought he was going to play, so I left him in my lineup.
Nick thought you didn't set your lineup. He's like AJ Brown's. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he was questionable up until like early this morning. So
yeah, and then I forgot to fix it. But yeah, I was hoping that he would play. I mean,
how about my fantasy pickup though?
You've been having a great year, man, so far.
No, I haven't. I'm 0-2.
I know.
But this
I was being tongue in cheek.
I don't know. But this pickup saved my ass.
What was the pickup? I didn't see that.
The running back from Jacksonville who's tearing shit up.
Oh yeah. I'm not worried about running back. My running back situation is actually probably one of the better ones in the league.
Yeah.
I got Singletary coming off the bench. I got Alvin Kamara and Austin Eckler. Like it's a decent trifecta there, running backs.
Right now, I'm winning 120-69 or to 73. It just updated.
Oh, you're gonna definitely win that game then.
And I'm projected to score 169 points.
Well, shit. But yeah, Marquise Brown, I believe
he's fucking you over.
He's still out too, yeah. And AJ Brown is also out. So yeah, no, it's been frustrating at wide receiver for me this year. Because I have good wide receivers on the roster, but none of them are playing.
See, I got freaking Hop. I got D-Hop, Metcalf, Cooks, Mike Williams as my wide receivers.
That's a pretty good company you got there.
And my starting tight end isn't even playing right now because he's out, and that's George Kittle. But I picked up Jimmy Graham, and he had 6 receptions for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. So that's been the lifesaver.
That's a good situation.
Yes. All right, but I think we got all we could say, really, and we've just been shooting the shit now. So we can shoot the shit off camera. Signing off, guys. I'm Matt. Check us out next week after our game against Dallas. That is right. The Dogs are dogging the Cowboys.
I'm interestingly going to be watching the game with somebody who has been an anti-NFLer since Colin Kaepernick. I'm actually drawing him in to get him to watch the game.
Is it Mr. Bacon?
It is Mr. Bacon. I've actually convinced him to watch the Cowboys game because he's a Cowboys fan.
That makes so much sense. Being an anti-NFLer and being a Cowboys fan, it goes hand in hand.
It does. It really does. So So
right.
yeah, I've convinced Mr. Bacon to watch the Cowboys game with me. We'll probably stream it because I have a YouTube TV,
So same.
So I'm probably just gonna link it in and share screens with him and watch the game via Discord, because with Discord I can also share the audio.
Yep.
So I can basically just make him watch the game.
No, we do that for our we do that for certain things on this channel. I'll tell you off there. But guys, check us out next week. Peace. Go Browns. Peace. Dog pound. Dog check. See you next week. Dog.